Hello, this is Joseph for Zoomer Questions Everything. I'm going to talk about student loans today and canceling the student loans. So, the topic of student loan forgiveness has become a big issue lately since some Democratic candidates have revealed their plans for debt forgiveness. To be clear, I have managed to avoid any student debt this far in my life, and I've always worked while going to school, so I'm not arguing on my own behalf here. Uh, And I'm not usually in favor of many Democrat policy ideas, but this is obviously a good thing, and I'm going to get into that here. Many young Americans were basically brainwashed and groomed from kindergarten on, told by parents, teachers, counselors, principals, and every authority figure that they had ever known and trusted that going to college is a good thing and it's the only way to be successful, prosperous, and happy in modern day America, and that you need that degree at no matter what. And it's so vital and so important. And so these kids who were 17 or 18 at the time signed up for these huge loans in order to go to college and then got degrees, many of which turned out to be completely useless in the job market. They were not old enough or mature enough to be trusted to buy a beer at the time, but were allowed to take out 50, 100, $200,000 loans that you can't default on. And when you're told this constantly over and over and over again for years and years and years as a child, this is what's called manufactured consent. And they had no idea what they were really getting into. And now these young Americans who thought that they were doing the right thing, trying to frame their future for success and prosperity, now realize that they are saddled with tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt that they cannot declare bankruptcy on. And this is no different than indentured servitude and borderline slavery. And it's it's no wonder that there are so many young people who want to tear down our entire government and economic system when this is the system that has made them slaves to a debt that they cannot escape. A 25-year-old who has no job opportunities outside of the retail and service industries and a $100,000 debt has no reason to not want to watch it all burn. This is how you make a radical. This is how violent socialist revolutions happen, and there are thousands of greedy people who are unknowingly feeding into the very thing that they are most afraid of because they want young people who are trapped in this messed up system to stay trapped in it because they need to learn about responsibility and accountability by living as a slave instead of as a mother or a father or a business owner. And Donald Trump, the man that some of these conservative or neocon people praise endlessly, declared bankruptcy 3 times because he wanted to build gigantic towers. But the young people of this country don't have that option when all they wanted to do was follow the path to a good life that everyone they had ever known told them would work. And we have over $1 trillion of student loan debt, and our government has $22 trillion of debt and another 150 trillion of unpaid obligations. And our future was basically stolen from us by those who came before us, without a doubt. And this is where all their wealth came from, is by stealing from the future. And I use the term Zoomer because it feels more optimistic to me, but many people call Gen Z Generation Zyklon because there's a lot of Gen Z people who have a deep and somewhat righteous anger about this. And to be honest, I felt this anger in some of my darkest hours, but I know it's not the way, and it's part of the reason that I've started doing this, and maybe to make some small impact and help others see that burning the system to the ground is going to hurt all of us. And what has been really shocking to me is the number of people that are opposed to the student debt forgiveness. People saying, I worked hard and paid off all my loans. What about me? Or I was smart enough not to go to college and not take these huge debts. And to me, this is just ridiculous because this what about me attitude is not what is needed right now in our country when everything seems people are so pitted against each other and we're fracturing. And I've seen some good like analogies about this. And it's like if you were probably the best one I had seen is if you were living in an apartment building and your neighbor right next door to you that you share a wall with, if you know that he's a smoker and he falls asleep while smoking and his apartment goes up in flames, are you going to stop the firefighters from using your tax dollars to put out the fire? Because what's going to happen is it's going to burn down your apartment and everything you own too. And that's what will happen when the economy will be destroyed by an entire generation who can't buy homes, can't buy cars, can't start families, can't start businesses. And another one that I had thought of myself is if you were in a car accident with a friend and you're in the passenger seat and you walked away without a scratch, but your friend had 2 broken legs and a concussion, will you stand in the way of the paramedics saying, well, what about me? I need an equal amount of government resources given to me, even though, and say, oh, well, it was his fault. He was driving and he's on Medicare. So you're going to use my tax dollars to pay for his medical bills because he was being stupid and got in a car accident. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. And it's just a level of selfishness that's just really, it's really sad and it's not a good thing. And just having an entire generation of people being financially suffocated rather than starting families and small businesses is not good for anyone. It's not good for our country as a whole. And apparently, before I was around, Americans used to believe in helping each other and prospering together. And to me, it just seems really sad that this seems to be fading from our country. And that's about all I have on the topic today. If you want to give a like, subscribe, comment, I'm always up for constructive criticism or any suggestions. Share with your friends. I appreciate it all. And I hope you guys all have a nice day and question everything. Bye.